Hello, welcome to Consciously Healthy. I'm Laura.
And I'm Claire.
And today we are talking about rejecting and hating our conditions.
Oh, and by that you're not talking about weather conditions.
Yeah, I can sometimes reject weather conditions.
I am a little bit at the moment, just want it to be warm anyway.
Yeah, not those conditions.
No. Okay.
Not the poor conditions. I'm talking about our illnesses.
Our symptoms.
Yeah, our symptoms. Have you ever rejected symptoms?
Yes. And still struggle with them. Actually, that's not true. When I got into alternative health, that's when I started to realise that I actually have a bit of a passionate belief that no matter how awful the conditions are that we are dealing with, there is a gift within them. And before we get a whole load of messages going, well, it's all right for you, you're not dealing with this, please bear in mind that we work with clients who have multiple sclerosis, terminal cancer. We have worked with people with the worst type of conditions that you would ever want to have. And this is where our clients get to. And ultimately, I have had many, many clients who say there are so many gifts that have come with this journey.
Yeah.
That actually it's been too important a journey for me to not be on. And actually, I had a client who did pass away from terminal cancer who said words to that effect. So it's very humbling.
Yeah, it really is. And I would say at the beginning of getting symptoms or a condition, I think that's usually when people struggle with them the most, or if they've been struggling with them for a while and can't seem to get rid of them. And I've met lots of people, and I've had this myself, is where I've seen my condition as something separate to me.
Yes.
Removed. It's almost had a personality, it's had an identity, and it was something that was happening to me. It was almost like I was some kind of victim who was being persecuted by my symptoms, and that created a lot of frustration and anger in me towards my condition. Why is it doing this to me? Like blaming it almost. And through the work that we've had to do, I've discovered the same thing in terms of my condition was an absolute gift. It was trying to talk to me. It was, and it's not something that I should be trying to get rid of. It's something that my body is trying to communicate. And the more that I can sit and deeply listen to that message, the more that I can understand it and the more I can work with it. So
you're not necessarily saying the more you're happy to live with it, but actually the more you're able to listen to it, tune in with it, understand the message that it's bringing you, the more you can actually give your body what it needs to not have to express itself in that way.
Yeah. So I know from my experience of working with my skin, when my skin was particularly bad in my early 20s, it was feeding the emotional symptom of not wanting to be around people and not wanting to socialize. So I was using my skin almost like an excuse to be able to not meet people and not have to, not go out. And so there was this real sort of feeding of the symptoms, creating something in my life that was holding me back. And so when I really started to understand that they were interlinked, once I started working on the fact that I didn't want to socialise and what was that about, and my fear around being with people, the more that I could be with people, the more my skin started clearing up.
That's really amazing.
And there's the gift. There is the gift.
Yeah, really amazing. And this is some of the way that we have to work with our clients, is getting them to understand what their body is trying to tell them. And it is just about listening. And sometimes the message isn't for us. It's like sometimes I have a friend whose father passed away last year, and she said that actually, watching him on his journey, the gifts that have been given to her from watching his journey
Oh, wow.
Absolutely manifold. So it's not always just about us and what we have to learn. It can also be about what other people have to learn. And that's really interesting.
I find it really interesting to look at cancer research advertising that is particularly around the fight of war with cancer.
Yes.
And I struggle with it because I see cancer as a body in distress, really in distress and looking for something health-wise. And there's something that I struggle with in terms of this, let's fight with the cancer. The cancer needs attacking and taking down, and this war on cancer. I just feel with a condition like that if we can come with some love and some compassion and some caring.
It's kind of like that with every condition though, isn't it? And it's like, this is how the medical model is kind of created. So you've got bacteria, let's give you antibiotics. You've got this, let's do this, an antiviral.
It's like bomb that goes off in the body.
You attack this one, we'll counter-attack, and we can do this, and we'll throw everything at the arsenal in it. It's like, oh my goodness, this is how we deal with symptoms. And it's also it's a bit of a bugbear I have with the alternative health world, because that's often what the alternative health world does. Oh, we've got a problem, pain in the neck, right, well, let's fix that pain in the neck by manipulating your neck. It might not be coming from your neck. So I find it really fascinating that I believe it was Louis Pasteur on his deathbed, who, of course, Louis Pasteur, so important, all his work in the fight against bacteria and sterilising and pasteurising and all these kind of things. And on his deathbed, he renounced a lot of his work, because he said what we didn't tell people was that it wasn't that it was us versus the bugs. I don't think he used the word bugs, but it wasn't us versus the bugs. The bugs were already inherently within the body. It was about, actually the body then allowed itself to create an environment where the bugs could take hold. And that is a really interesting way of looking at it. So what is the environment that we are creating that allows these symptoms to take hold? Mm-hmm. There was a TV show years ago called Dharma and Greg, and there's like hippie parents. I've probably referred to this before, and the mum says, because like the girl gets a cold, and the hippie mum says, well, bugs can only fly in when there's a hole in the soul.
So that's what we'd be recommending, is to patch up the hole in your soul to stop bugs coming in.
But it is really interesting. Oh, you're welcome. But it is really interesting. And actually the Chinese were onto this in Chinese 5-element theory many moons ago, because actually where symptoms lie, they have their Chinese 5-element theory. So there are these 5 elements, and within those 5 elements there are emotions. So for example, diabetes, which in 5-element theory, actually I'm gesticulating over here because I'm seeing the 5 elements in front of me. The earth element has the stomach and the spleen, and in sort of modern day terms we talk about the pancreas and the spleen working together in that sort of meridian. And self-esteem and worry, low self-esteem and worry. And actually when we look at things like diabetes, which is living in the pancreas, and then we have to start looking at things like self-esteem and worry, or problems with the liver and anger, well, it starts to open up a whole new path, doesn't it? A whole new field.
Yeah. One of the big questions that I ask clients is, what would happen if you didn't hate your condition? And some clients don't even realise that they are hating on their condition. But if you feel really frustrated with something that you're battling with in terms of a health condition, how would it be to come with compassion to that condition? And what is that condition trying to tell you? If you were to step back and to take the emotion out of it and just see it for what it is,
what's the lesson?
What's the lesson for you? And that can crack open a whole new world of understanding.
Yes, it can. So, get in touch if you've got any questions or comments, and we look forward to catching up with you next time.
And subscribe here.
Bye.